Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DeHart House podcast. My name is Alicia, and this is episode 63. Yeah, finally. And by finally, I mean it has been a month since my last episode, and I will explain that very soon. So, before I get into why it took me so long to get out my next episode, let me just say, if you're a new viewer, thank you so much for stumbling on this channel. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and for subscribing. For those of you who don't know, this is a podcast about my knitting, crocheting, just general craftiness. I'm set here in my craft room, and yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. So, again, precursory stuff. It's been a while, so I'm a little off. You can follow me on social media. You can find me on Instagram as Read Knit Run. You can also find me on Ravelry, which is a knitting, crocheting, fiber community sort of webpage. But you can find me on Ravelry as AlittyKnitsToo. So, yeah, it's been a month. It's literally been a month and 2 days. I think the last episode I recorded May 18th, and then today is June 20th. So, yeah, let me just, before I get into the crafty stuff that I've been up to, let me talk about what's been going on with me, because that's why I haven't put out another episode in a while. So, I announced on a previous episode, the episode number eludes me, but I announced that my husband and I are going to be moving out to the Seattle area in Washington because I have a new job waiting for me out there. And we will be making that move soon, as in 2 months at most. So the plan is sometime in August to make the move, but you know, that's still a little fluid with things that are going on. So there is that whole packing and moving and setting up house at the new place. All of that is going on. But what's been more pressing on my time is that it seems like everyone in our family is having surgery. Yeah. So they're not emergency surgeries. They're, you know, scheduled and planned and, you know, everything ahead of time. But it still doesn't, things don't always go exactly like you plan them. Anyway, yeah, so my father had surgery and I wanted to be there. Luckily, we're still here in Texas, and he is here in Texas. So I was able to be there, and the surgery went really well. He is back home now. But you know, there's post-surgery recovery that he's going through and readjusting to life after surgery. So my father had an aortic aneurysm in his abdomen, and the doctor repaired that. Not to go into too many details. And then on top of that, he had heart surgery 3 years ago. And he had a complication after the surgery. His heart surgery went really well. It was a triple bypass. His ticker is still ticking. And but he had complications after the surgery with his breathing. So they had to keep the breathing tube down his throat much longer than they planned. As a result of that, we think his vocal cords got damaged, and he can talk, but he has a hard time breathing. So, because of that, he can't really exercise, which is not good when your heart doctor is telling you, you should really get out and walk and try to lose some weight and, elevate your heart rate, like you do during exercise, keep it healthy and everything. The man can't breathe. So while they were going in to repair this aneurysm in his abdomen, he went and saw a bunch of specialists, and now he has a tracheostomy, I believe is the word he used. Anyway, he is breathing here now out of a tube instead of having to go have the air travel through his vocal cord. So anyway, so post-surgery stuff, the aneurysm repair was spot on. It's this right here that he's adjusting to, his tracheostomy. So it's healing very well. It's just the doctor said it's going to take time. So he's having to do some things a little bit differently than how he used to, but for the most part, the man can breathe now. He can breathe. He can walk up from the first floor to the second floor, going up a set of stairs, and not feel like he has to sit down to catch his breath. So amazing. Anyway, so that was going on. Dad had to stay in the hospital a whole week after the surgery because the doctor wanted to make sure that everything here was gonna be well received by his body and that he would adjust to it. So I was doing a lot of driving back and forth to go see him in the hospital, and Mom was there, and so, I was going there also for Mom because she's like sleeping in his hospital room on the couch anyway. So that was going on, and it went really well, and everything's great. It's just time consuming, that's all. Now, Michael's father is possibly going to have surgery on his back, and I don't know the specifics of it, partially because the doctors are still trying to figure out what exactly is going on. So he's been having a lot of back pain. Finally got in to see a doctor to get the proper scan done, and yes, there is something going on, so they're investigating. So we're doing a lot of driving to see him as well and help out, because if you've ever had back pain, not even serious back pain, but even just slight back pain, it can make some of your daily tasks really difficult. So just imagine if you really had something seriously wrong with your back, where the doctor's like, yeah, you should lay in bed all day long. You shouldn't lift things. You should... Anyway, so Michael's been doing a lot of driving. I've been doing a lot of driving. And we're mostly just like sitting by the phone waiting to hear, so what's the next stage? What's the next, process that everyone needs to go through? So we've been doing a lot of that. So I haven't been able to really find a good time to sit down and record a podcast, because it seemed like every day I was waiting for a phone call, and I didn't know what time of day I was going to get it. And I didn't want to miss it. So, yes. Anyway, so everyone is fine. Everyone is going through everything the doctor is telling, both of our fathers to do, they're doing, and all of that good stuff. So, yay. But both of our fathers, mine had his surgery. He's now post-surgery. His father is waiting to get into surgery. Michael's brother had surgery earlier in the year, also on his back. And he's recovering very nicely, but still recovering. It's a slow-going thing. So we went to visit him as well. And so it's just funny. Everyone's getting their surgeries done before we leave. So, yeah, there's been all of that, plus the moving stuff looming over us. and then just trying to keep up with daily life. So it has been a crazy month, and I just, like I said, I couldn't in good conscience sit down and record a podcast, be in the right mindset. So instead, here's what I did. I watched on Netflix. I binge watch. Here's the definition of binge watch. I watched all of Call the Midwife. All of it. All 8 seasons. And that wasn't in a month. That was in 2 weeks. Yep, I watched all of Call the Midwife. I cried near the end. No spoilers, but there were some pretty emotional episodes towards the end. And boy, I cried like a little baby. Really enjoyable, though. Let's see, what else did I do? I did some knitting. I did some packing. I did a lot of cleaning and driving, as I said. So, let me show you what's been going on in my knitting world. So, because episode 62 was a month ago, I can't remember anything, and I'm not going to go back and watch my own episode. So, I did finish this shawl, and I did post the pattern on Ravelry, and it is called Rock Garden. So the Rock Garden shawl is available on Ravelry. It is a triangle shawl. It uses only 2 colors of fingering weight yarn, and you're going to use pretty much the whole skein of each of the 2 colors. So it does alternate between them very nicely, so that you do use up pretty much both skeins. I chose a nice plum purple, and then this gray speckle with a purple tone to it. It just seemed to coordinate yet contrast very well. So, yes. This is called Rock Garden, like I said. I used a US size 4 needle and fingering weight yarn, and it gets a very, probably one of my favorite gauges here, and I don't know the stitch count off the top of my head, but it's just very pleasing. So this has some slip stitch detail. It has some garter stitch. In one section I did some striping. Where is it? Yes, here I do some striping with the slip stitches. And yeah, it was a really fun knit, and like I said, the pattern is up on Ravelry. So DeHart House Designs is my shop name, and if you just search DeHart House Designs in Ravelry, it should bring that up. I don't know if I'm popular enough that you could find that by searching on Google. I will have to try that later today, just out of curiosity. But yes, it is too hot to be wearing any kind of knitwear. I have not successfully made the move to Washington yet. I am still in Texas. So you guys, it's going to be 105 degrees today, Fahrenheit, according to Alexa. So yeah, our poor air conditioner is just pumping its little heart out, and I just pray that it doesn't die. Yes, so the pattern is finished, the shawl is finished, it's all posted, you can knit your own. All the information is up there on Ravelry, so do go check it out if you're interested. And then I did finish a pair of socks. So I've been really enjoying my shorty socks. So they're short socks. They don't come up the leg very far. In fact, I only knit them so they go above the ankle just a little bit. But I mostly like wearing short socks. They feel comfortable to me, so I've been knitting some short socks. So I did finish another pair of shorty socks. So this is my second pair for this year of short ones for me. So this is knit out of the main color here. The striping is Patton's Croy. This is Singin' the Blues stripes. And then the contrast color for the heel is one of my hand-dyed yarns in Bloodstone. So I did decide to go with the red. I was debating, do I want a red heel or an orange heel? And I decided to go with red, and I really like it. So yeah, I knit these cuff down, which is my preferred method, and my lighting and colors are crazy right now. So so yeah, I knit cuff down. So I knit these on size zeros, US size 0 needles. So I cast on 64 stitches here. I did 2x2 ribbing for 10 rounds. I did 10 rounds of plain stockinette here. And so that just keeps the leg portion right very short. And then what I did change a little bit for this sock is I added a tiny, like, I don't know that you would even call it a gusset, but so in the 10 rounds of stockinette here, when I got to round, what would it be? 7. Round 7 and round 9, I did some increases. So I ended up adding 4 stitches total extra right here before doing the short row heel, and then after the short row heel decreasing off those 4 stitches. So there's just a little bit extra room right in here, which is nice. So just a tiny bit, just 2 extra stitches on this side, 2 extra stitches on the other side. Like I said, 4 stitches extra on the whole thing. It just adds a little bit more room right in here, which is always kind of tight on my foot. I like it to be not super loose, but I don't need it cutting off my circulation. So so I made that little bit of a change. Otherwise, it's just stockinette the whole way. Let the stripes do all the work for me, and yep, they're finished. So that finishes up finished objects. So no, I did not finish a lot. It's been a month and I haven't finished. I finished a pair of socks, you guys. Whoop-de-doo. But yes, I've been pretty busy. So anyway, so for works in progress, let me start off with some more socks. I'll continue with the sock train here. The design bug hit me again, and so I've started designing another pair of socks, actually a couple new pairs of socks. So this first one I'm going to show you is the first one that I came up with. So this again is knit out of Patton's Croy. This is a gray marl colorway, which I need more of because I'm running out. And I do love just the color of this. It looks so nice. Anyway, so there is a nice cable detail running down the front of the sock. I've got some ribbing in here as well. And stockinette, little stockinette panel down the leg. I just think that's cool. So I got the ribbing mirrored on the back of the sock. But this cable, so let me show you. So this is one finished sock. I need to knit the other one. And I'm calling these my, what did I pick? Recreation socks. Recreation socks. So Michael and I did find some time in there to go on a little camping trip. And we wear our hand knit socks a lot already, but we especially wear them when we're camping. So while we were out camping, I was inspired and came up with this. So Anyway, these I am knitting up this pair of socks for Michael. Michael is my husband, and I asked him, would you like them to be longer or shorter? And he said shorter, and that's the only reason that these are the height that they are. The pattern is totally cool with having a longer leg on your sock. So it's got this cute cable, and I say cute, I'm knitting it for a man, but it's got this really nice cable that runs down the front of the sock. It is, I think, is it a 10-row repeat? And only one of those 10 rows do you have to actually use a cable needle. So yes, you need a cable needle, but look, it's totally worth it. So I've got this cable running down the front. I've got ribbing on either side of it. So it's going to be a nice, it's going to be a sock that hugs your foot, which I really enjoy. So that's the deal there. Of course, every time I put these on my hand like this, I think that would look really good on a mitten too. Anyway, I did toy around with making this cable run into the toe, but it just got kind of messy, and I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I just don't want little bumps or things rubbing on my toes in a sock, in a shoe. Like, that's something that could annoy me all day long. So I decided against that and just made it plain stockinette so that would not be a factor. So that's the front of the sock, and then on the back of the leg, I did the same panels of ribbing here running down the sides, but left the middle section stockinette. So if I just put this in here to stretch it out a little bit, maybe you can see there is ribbing here and there's ribbing here, but it's plain stockinette in the middle. So just playing on having a ribbed sock that isn't just a ribbed sock. Like, it has more design to it than just that. But I do love a sock that just hugs my foot and fits really well. It's also really nice when you are gift knitting. If you don't always knit socks for this person, maybe they've lost some weight, maybe they've gained some weight, maybe they're, you know, a child or a teenager and they're still growing or whatever. So you can't really narrow down their real foot width and whatnot. I mean, the length you should know, but the ribbing is really nice when you're not entirely sure how wide around their foot is or their leg, and it'll just hug the foot really nicely. So anyway, yes, the first one is done. So I did use a US size 1 needle, and I did use 64 stitches, but I am going to make sure to include in the pattern some different stitch counts as well, because, excuse me, not everyone uses 64 stitches. So I will make some modifications and adjustments so that if people need more or less stitches, you can still use this pattern. And then I liked that sock so much that I got an idea for a second design, which plays on the ribbing aspect even more. So I decided, you know what, with everything that's going on, with the move, with family members having surgery, with starting new jobs, with all of this going on, it would actually make me feel better if I started knitting Christmas gifts. Oddly enough. Because, yeah. Whatever. It's a thought I had. We'll see how it pans out. So I started knitting some Christmas gifts. And those Christmas gifts so far consist of socks because that's the kick I'm on. So I went in my stash and found some yarn. This is Knit Pick Stroll in the skating rink colorway. And then the contrasting red here is more of my hand-dyed Bloodstone colorway, which you saw earlier in another pair of socks. So I was working with this Bloodstone, and I was like, oh yeah, I have this other yarn. So I knit a pair of socks for myself out of this yarn right here. So I didn't want to knit myself another pair out of the same yarn. But it would make a really nice Christmas gift, and I had enough left over of this yarn to make a whole pair of socks as long as I put in some contrast. So that's the dealio. I have only knit the first sock so far. I need to work on the second one. Okay, I totally just had a tickle in my throat and went into a coughing fit. It's like it came out of nowhere. Whew. Okay. So as I was saying, so this is another design that I'm working on, and I'm calling this one Elevation. And it's all about ribbing. It's just a play on different ribbing. So I did 2x2 ribbing up here on the cuff, and then in the leg and the top of the foot, I play around with different ribbing. So I've got, I really liked the look on the previous sock of the stockinette panel down the side. So I kept that idea here. But then I played around with some 1x1 ribbing and some 2x2 ribbing. So, and then it continues down the top of the foot, you know, don't need it on the bottom, just plain stockinette is fine. So if I show you the front here, what I did is I made sure that the ribbing, the 2x2 ribbing, continues from the cuff into the design. So I really love when it just looks like it's supposed to be there. You know, it doesn't look like ribbing design. It looks like it just flows nicely. So that is what I did, and I know it's kind of hard to see with this yarn. It had this interesting swirling effect, which I don't think it did on the other pair I knit. So, but this had a couple more stitches, I think, than the other, so that was enough to just make it look different. So anyway, so it's 2x2 ribbing up at the top, and then, come on, there we go. So you can see the 2x2 ribbing that continues down the center front panel, and then this 1x1 ribbing on either side. So, and then the same thing on the back. And what's really nice, so I like to knit magic loop style, so there's stockinette at the start and end of, you know, half the stitches. Anyway, I just think this is really nice. And like I said, ribbed socks are, in my opinion, really great for gift knits, because then it's going to fit their foot nicely, no matter how their foot is shaped. So that is that. And then because I'm going to be writing up this pattern, I do like it in this yarn and everything. It's a lot easier to see in person than it is on camera. So I decided to start knitting this same design on different yarn just to make it easier to photograph for when I release the pattern. So I have that sock here. So same pattern, different yarn. And this is also a gift knit. Like I said, just gonna go for it. So it makes it a little bit easier to see the ribbing because it is a lighter yarn. It is a self-striping, but the stripes are very wide, so again making the pattern easier to see. So this yarn is Patons Croy in the, is it rose brown marl stripes? Oh my gosh. If that is not it, I'll put it on the screen. And then I also used some Patons Croy in the flax colorway on the cuff and the heel because I didn't have quite enough of the self-striping to do the whole pair. So I had a little touch of the flax colorway left over, and as you can see, it goes really nicely. I mean, it almost looks like it's a part of the stripes, which is perfect. But yes, I'm doing that same pattern, so elevation, and I will show you the front. Yep. So again, that ribbing just continues down the front. It looks like it belongs there, and yeah, it's just going to be a really nice fitting sock. You can tell when it when you take it off the blocker and it scrunches in, right? It makes it hard to see. But you know that that is going to be a sock that when you put it on, it's just going to fit really well. So, try not to hit the microphone. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. So, this is elevation, and the cable sock, which I don't know where I said it, is recreation. And I'm working on maybe a third one to go with these, since I kind of have a theme going on. So, yeah. So, I have three half objects. Totally could have finished another pair of socks, but when the creative bug bites, you scratch that itch. So, yeah, that's awkward. Okay, so anyway, so I'm really excited. I have the second sock in progress for this one. So hopefully I will get this pair finished so that I can take photographs for the pattern. And then I also want to get this sock, the other sock finished for this, again for photos for the pattern. So that's awesome. And then there is a sweater whip. Well, there's technically two sweater whips, but this one got worked on a little bit. So this sweater is for myself, and this is a pattern by Joji Locatelli, and I don't have it in the bag. This is called Radiate, and it's a gorgeous sweater that has a pop color and then more of a neutral color. And if you look at Joji's pattern pictures, she's wearing one with bright pink and then like a really soft gray, and it just looks really pretty. So I went for orange instead of pink, and it looks a bit brighter on camera than in person. But yeah, I have made it past the little bit of waist shaping that is, whoa, see that my color is going crazy. So I'm past the little bit of waist shaping that is written into the pattern, and now I just need to knit until it measures a certain length and then do the ribbing at the bottom. So I am getting there. how blue it makes everything when I hold it up. That is crazy. Yeah. I really apologize for the color. Anyway, I'm of course knitting these on some more ChowGoo needles, which are my absolute favorite and pretty much the only thing I own. Looks like it's a US size 6 needle, which I do remember is what the pattern called for. I did gauge swatch and got gauge. The yarn that I'm using is some more Baby Bee. And so the gray color is called Flannel, and the orange color is called Carrots. Oh no! Flannel, flannel. Do I only have tags for the flannel? Oh, there it is. Carrots. Oh no! Yeah. They're baby colors, so yeah. Anyway, I am excited about this sweater. So yeah. The other sweater that's in progress is for Michael, and that did not get worked on at all because I'm officially now into the last skein of that yarn, and I'm really afraid that I'm going to have to emergency order another skein, and I don't want to, but if it means finishing the sweater versus not, I will totally do it. I'm procrastinating because I don't want to face that music. But I need to. So, yeah, it hasn't really been worked on. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that is that with the crafting stuff. I did give you guys a slight overview of what has happened in the last month. I will say I don't think I saw you guys after the craft fair. My sister and I went to vend at a craft fair in Fort Worth, and to tell you how it went, it did not go well. Did not go well. No one came. There were no customers. There were like maybe 4. Yeah. So I didn't sell anything. And that's it. That's the end of that conversation. I am brainstorming some new ideas for the podcast. I really like doing the podcast. I like sharing the things that I'm working on and doing all of that. But I want to do more. I want to feel like I'm contributing to our knitting community more than just, hey, I'm working on this too, or talking about my new designs that I have. I want to do more than that. So I'm brainstorming some new ideas. The tutorial knit along, the DeHart House Sock knit along I did in March and April was pretty well received. So I want to do a bit more of that. Maybe not just socks, but like, yeah, we pick a pattern, probably one of mine since I'm going to do tutorial videos about it, and we do a knit along with it. I also have some fun ideas which I don't want to spoil, so there are no spoilers here, and that will not change. So I have some new fun ideas. So yes, I've taken a month off of podcasting, and that was not what I planned. Things just came up. But it was really important for me to be there, and it's still important for me to be there. We have a very busy weekend ahead of us, hence me recording today. So yes, Anyway, so I hope that you will come back and join me in episode 64, where I hope to do something a little different. And again, there's no spoilers here, so I'm not going to tell you. It's going to be a surprise. So I'm hoping to do something a little different in episode 64, and hopefully that will come out to you next week. But if it doesn't, I can't make any promises. I will try to get something up next week, in the midst of all of this crazy. Anyway, thank you for sticking with me this far. Thank you for tuning into this episode. And like I said, I hope to see you again next time in episode 64. So enjoy your crafting, reading, running, whatever it is you like to do for fun. And I will see you next time. Bye.